The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a Primal Lifestyle. With your hosts, Nico and Ellen Haan. Now, Nico and Ellen Haan.
Good morning, I'm Nico and Ellen, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. Good morning, I'm Ellen Haan.
It's a beautiful morning in downtown St. Petersburg. It's 48 degrees, feels like 43, humidity 81. And yeah, it's wintertime here.
It's wintertime for a week or so.
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to remind you of a couple of things. First of all, we have a couple of things going on here. Let me bring this screen over here. We have, first of all, Basil Chapman is on at 9 o'clock today.
No, 8 o'clock.
No, 8 o'clock to 9, 8 till 8:30.
8:30. Mm-hmm.
Larry Presavento is live trading webinar. Trade What You See is on tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., so sign up now. Tiger Dollar Sale, up to 40% bonus for a limited time only on December. It ends the 20th of December, so get a 40% bonus. The Taz Profile Scanner is $100 off your first month when you use the scanner.
Is it a new upgrade?
A new upgrade, yep. So,
and Primal Edge?
And the Primal Edge. Let me get that up here too, yeah. You got $25 off that first bottle. So Primal Code 2020. So pick up the Primal Edge. It's a one-shot wonder.
Primal 2020.
Primal Code, promo code. It's all the same thing.
Primal 2020.
Yeah, and this, of course, is meant to keep us healthy. If you're eating a good diet, folic and humic acid will ensure that. I'm positive of that. And the last thing is, of course, our newsletter. It follows the show, so all the things we're talking about in our show here is going to be in this newsletter, and you can make up your own mind about what we're talking about. And the first thing I want to talk about today is this new photos from, this is in Colombia, South America.
In the rainforest.
In the rainforest. And it's really quite remote, because you take a 4-hour trip by car, or no, 2-hour trip by car, and then 4-hour walking into a jungle with caimans and everything around.
Yeah, it's pretty wild and woolly out there, and yet they found cliff faces that stretch over 8 miles, more than tens of thousands of paintings on the entire cliff face, and they say they're dating it back to approximately 12,500 years ago.
Which is real interesting, because that's what we talk about, the catastrophe cycle. We know that the Younger Dryas was around that time.
Leave it on that. Yeah, it's and they do it because they see pictures of animals that became extinct.
Yeah.
At that point, around that time, and they're clearly depicted. And there were other clues in the
Well, I think the ochre you can probably date too, and there's lots of So these are interesting formations and things, and we really probably don't know all what this is, but it does show some animals. It also shows a lot of interesting little characters that we know. We saw this shows the sun. Mm-hmm. It seems to show waves or something like that at certain points too.
Under the boat, there's a boat. There's all kinds of images. It's a little hard to tell from the photos, but...
Yeah, all these figures, I mount this to the stick figure man, the guy with his hands way up in the air like this, with 2 globes underneath, which is the plasma formation. In 1970s, we figured out that a lot of these things are plasma formations that people are writing on these walls, because when you see this, there's a lot of problems going on in the Earth. And if you listen to Ben Davidson from Suspicious Observer about the catastrophe cycle or the Die Holds Foundation, you can learn about some of these cycles.
And you have to wonder if some of those wiggly lines were electrical discharges.
We don't know what they were, but it's very interesting. And also there is going to be, or there is already, whoops, it's the wrong one, a television show called Jungle Mystery: Lost Kingdoms of the Amazon. And we're really finding out a lot about that. There are apparently 2 episodes up already, so we're going to watch that when we get back to the chateau, so to speak. I find this stuff very interesting. It's always been a passion of mine to look at the past and maybe find a little bit of knowledge that we don't have from our ancestors.
Yeah, well, this is all just recently discovered. It was
Yep.
discovered last year, but they kept it a secret because they wanted to film it for a major series
Yeah,
that
which
is
is
now available. I believe we found it on YouTube.
Yeah, I found it on YouTube, and it's called The Jungle Mystery.
Yeah.
Lost Kingdoms of the Amazon, apparently two episodes. So check that out, folks. I think it's kind of interesting.
Well, what's really interesting is that the cliff faces rise up, many
60 feet, 70 feet in the air. Yeah, so you wonder if there was something different around there, or maybe they bungeed down, or...
Well, they're saying that, they're wondering, trying to speculate how the artists actually managed to get access to the cliff face.
In 12,000 years, a lot can happen, so
Well,
maybe
sure,
it was...
it could have been lying down a little bit
Yeah, who
more,
knows?
more slanted, and then now raised up from events, who knows. But it is fascinating.
Well, the fascinating thing to me is that all over the world, on all 7 continents, these types of petroglyphs have been there.
Petroglyphs?
Petroglyphs. It's my language. Yeah, so all these things have been seen before in different types of things, and you wonder if they're just depicting hunters. Are they, I think people go to a lot of trouble to put these things up, so I think most of these things are warning us what's going on. That's my personal opinion.
Or it's a history, a pictographic history, and it could include religious significance, it could include historical significance, and there's... Pull up the other article because it has the handprints on it that are kind of interesting too. There's there's a whole lot of caves that have handprints on them.
Yeah, this is one of the archaeologists.
Yeah, well, go back to the handprints, please. Actually, go back. That's an interesting shot of from the bottom of the cliff face, going up, and you can get an idea of how packed with images it was, and how much is on there.
And if it goes on for 8 miles, they were doing something significant there, for sure.
Yeah.
You don't do that just for the fun of it, I don't think.
Yeah, and the handprints are interesting because there are a lot of situations in which some of the fingers appear to be missing, the tops of the fingers. Mm-hmm. And recently, a fellow who's been researching it had recreated those by folding the top of his finger under and then making
I think when you put a handprint on and you make either a drawing around it, you're showing that you were there. I think that's one of the signatures of somebody to saying, here, I was here.
Yeah, well, the question is, why the fingers bent? Did that have a significance? We tend to read things into... to everything. And
if you look at a lot of these little formations of the people, the little figures, the little stick figures, a lot of them have 3 fingers.
Could you slow down, please? You're getting me dizzy.
I'm trying to find one. Just trying to find the stick figures like these right here.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, they have 2 fingers or 3 fingers.
Yeah,
that's why I
I'm
think
looking at the shape of it.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting and odd, and the feet, same thing.
Okay. Well, stick around, folks. We got a lot more than this, so we'll be right back.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, just $89, exclusively at TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
And last week we were talking about sustainability, about rotational farming, about humane slaughtering practices,
right.
And now this week we're talking about that cultured meat, lab-grown meat, has now been approved in some areas for sale, and it's basically they're developing cultivated chicken, beef, and pork to eliminate the drugs and quote unquote create cruelty-free meat, and I don't know.
Well, you know, we do have drug-free animals around. There's a big whole movement to get these animals drug-free and clean and living off the land like they used to be. It does mention a few things in here that they're going to save the planet this way. I'm wondering what's in this. It's made from protein, I presume. Well, how much fat is in there?
They say it's that they're actually they're basically culturing cells from live animals.
Right.
So they're creating chickens, or chicken. I think they're not creating chickens, they're creating some kind of meat.
From
they're
cells.
calling it meat from cells. Yeah, and they're creating it.
So it's like cloning, in a sense.
Yeah, and it's kind of strange. Right now, it's at a very, very small scale production.
They have just approved chicken bites produced by a U.S. company called Eat Just, and I guess for justice, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, or properly, or fairly, or
yeah. So this is the first one that's approved. I don't know what it tastes like. I'm not going to eat it. I prefer to eat my animals from actual animals and not just from the cell in the lab.
It says the nutrients supplied to the growing cells were all from plants. You know, we know that chickens don't eat plants. They eat bugs, and if left to their own devices, they eat protein.
Well, they eat seeds too.
And okay. Yeah, they do, because that's what we feed them. But
so these are all plant-based. So they're not really taking a cell from an animal.
They are.
And mixing it with a plant? Is that what they're saying?
The nutrients are from the plants, according to this. They're saying the cells used to start the process came from a cell bank.
Oh.
Do not require the slaughter of a chicken.
This does sound like a weird thing to me, I'm telling you.
You know, and it says they're using fetal bovine serum extracted from fetal blood. But that's largely removed before consumption. I don't, this is very. I don't know what the process is.
One of the biggest problems we found out last week when we talked is because of all this excessive farming, it's ruining the whole darn planet. And this is just propagating this more instead of having the animals roam like they did in the old days. And there's a statement in here saying that 60% of the earth, so of all the animals on earth, 60% are livestock, 36% are humans, and only 4% are wild.
Right. And
so this is the problem we have.
Yeah, and what you were talking about was the monoculturing of crops that has depleted the soil and changed.
Using pesticides instead of the cow's manure and this natural process that used to go on. So they're saying, well, the livestock aren't clean, because they poop, I guess, and stuff like that.
Well, because they're full of hormones and antibiotics.
And they're also crammed in. That's why the problem is you leave them out in the pasture and it's a beautiful thing. It's the spirit of the animal is what our ancestors really wanted out of the animal. Yeah, we were eating the meat and we were eating the fat, and we're using the bones and we're using the fur. We're using the whole animal, and we wanted the whole spirit of the animal. When you're doing this in the lab, there's no spirit here. There's just plants and a empty cell that they're using probably as a carcass to carry these plants. This is not what I see for the human race being very, very healthy, being sustainable either, because now all these stories about knocking down rainforests, they're not knocking it down for pastured animals, they're knocking it down to grow crops most of the time. If they're doing it for the animals, that's not good either, naturally.
Yeah. Well, it says here, the small scale of the current cultured meat production requires a relatively high use of energy and creates carbon emissions. So any conversation about how it's saving the planet it seems counterintuitive here.
Yeah.
They say once it's scaled up, and they're saying because of the small scale. So when we've got widespread, it's going to have much less emissions and use far less water and land than conventional meat. I don't know how that works.
Now, this company called Eat Just already has experience in selling non-animal products such as a plant-based egg, a vegan
plant-based egg.
a mayonnaise, vegan mayonnaise, and you can get all these. There's another company called supermeat.com. It has crispy cultured chicken.
Quote unquote, in the article.
Industry experts said other companies, including Memphis Meats, Mosa Meat, Alpha Farms.
Aleph.
They're working on other textured products such as steaks they are able to produce in the lab.
What's a textured product?
That would be a piece of meat.
Well,
meat,
you know what concerns me about just this whole story is you hear a lot of conversation about the coming disaster, the catastrophe cycles, and what could happen, and we could end up in caves. Did that happen in the past? And then does the Earth have to regenerate, and people are stuck? So you have to start wondering, why all of a sudden are they focusing on creating meat from no animals? And that starts to. It puts a little something in the back of my mind about.
Well, it's kind of like that the $21 trillion that's missing out of the housing and urban development.
Oh, yeah, that's for the underground.
Yeah, for the underground bases. And if you don't know what we're talking about, just punch in the catastrophe cycle, suspicious observer, the Diehold Foundation. Other people have this too, and they're talking about the clock cycle, which is a 12,000-year cycle. And supposedly we're coming up on that in the next 20 years or so.
The question is, are we going to need these foods because there are no animals, or the animals are inaccessible, or
Certainly
you can't get out on
question.
the surface of the earth anymore, or there's so many possibilities, and it's and maybe this is just another way to make money.
That's the other side of it too.
So,
A recent report from global consultancy A.T. Kearney said that most meat in 2040 would not come from dead animals.
Well, certainly not going to come from live animals.
Approval is an innovation hotspot like Singapore in a hotspot like Singapore is could fast forward the market. So in these industrial nations like Singapore, where they have a lot of people and they need this, it's going to get approved a lot easier, is what they're saying.
Well, you know, you have to feed a lot of people, and then we got to find a way to do it that's sensible and that.
Well, they figured it out with the white rice years and years ago in that area of the country.
Of the world.
Of the world, I should say, yeah. And it's interesting. You know, this is something that goes against everything that is the Living a Primal Lifestyle show. Also, everything that I think about I think about, you know, let's get back to real food and let's not make up new stuff. The system is already here. Yeah. It's a natural system that we have here, and what we're really trying to do is get away from nature, and this started a long time ago. And when we get back from the break, we're going to talk about just that. So stick around, folks.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
You know, there's a few articles that you found that had to do with balance. And again, we were talking last week about balancing the process and using the, interacting with the earth and natural processes and following the excuse me.
Are we on? We're on.
Yeah, we're on.
Oh,
What did you think?
yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that. I was sleeping.
Okay.
Well, this article.
And so then that led us to these articles.
Yeah, it did. And the thing is that we have been getting away from nature, and I think it probably started with the religions, because the old ways where we had many gods. You know, a bush was a god, everything was magical, and then we turned and said, no, there's just one God now, and we separated ourselves from nature. It's no coincidence that every single sector of industry is contributing to the planet's downfall. A deeper issue underlies each one's part in the melees of the planet's ecosystems. Have you ever noticed that out in the wild, the only garbage you see is ours?
Yes.
Humans.
Yes.
We don't have dumps in nature. There is no waste in nature. Everything recycles itself. And this is where we have a big problem. If you just go in Florida, you can really see it. The only hills are the dumps. The landfills.
Yeah,
and
Mount Trashmore.
Yeah, and we've learned how to repurpose a lot of these things, but we do have a lot of junk. Just imagine, I had this old story, and this came from my dad. Imagine if you have to get rid of your own waste on your own property. Yeah. You know, you need a lot of property, first of all. You need a bigger space. We can't be crowded into things like this. Now, we've invented nice systems of sewage and the garbage collecting and everything like that, but that's not the way the natural world is. If we want to get back to harmony with the world, I think the natural progression is going back to nature.
Well, I think that the point is that we need to get back in harmony with the world, that the pollution problems and the dire predictions all have to do with being out of balance, and because we're using nature instead of working with nature, and just because we can do a thing, does that mean we should do the thing? And they mention in this article about a new technique for extracting oil from the sand, and it's a pretty violent kind of process. And the question is, why aren't we just looking for alternative sources of energy instead of blowing up beaches to get the oil out of the sand, and all the water that they use to extract the oil from the sand?
Well, yeah, humans have always extracted things out of different things to make things, to make energy, whether it's dung.
Well, they haven't
people in
always,
Africa.
but they do now.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, we have a lot of tools and a lot of different sources to get these things out of it. We just have to find the cleanest way. And the reason we haven't is because of profit.
Well, that's it. People say, oh boy, here's a new way to make some money. We can get this oil out of the sand, and it's great. And ultimately, so many things happen that have, to me, as an attorney, I look at the laws. And for me, the biggest law that we have is the law of unintended consequences. Yeah. We don't look past the immediate gratification of doing the thing to see what will be the long-term impacts. And the example I'm using these days is vaping. Vaping just was touted as a great way of not, taking in, being able to smoke and not have some of the toxic effects of nicotine.
Yeah. And it may be more toxic in certain ways.
And now they're talking about the heavy metals in it, and that young people are getting sick, and it's a big problem. You just don't know until you do it.
Well, let's just take the COVID thing that's been going around. This is an RNA strain. It's a common virus that's been around for a long time, but somewhere along the line it's changed where it's harder to recognize. Whether it was in a lab intentionally, somewhere along the line it changed. And it changed, my personal belief, it changed because of all the pollution we have. Because
it mutated? Is that the kind of change?
RNA strains have to attach themselves to a DNA. It has to attach itself to a cell, and it attaches itself to these prongs. Well, it's very interesting because I do believe in my studies with pesticides and fertilization, this is the same type of attachment that they use to attach to the proteins.
The GMOs.
Yeah, well, the GMOs are a little bit different, but they
genetically modified organisms, and that's what RNA is, genetically modifying.
No doubt about it. And the virus will be too.
Yeah.
So remember, the virus is going to change the cell, so it's actually you're messing with the DNA. That's why a lot of people are saying, well, do we want to do that? Because if we're changing our DNA, it kind of makes you think of some of the things like Down syndrome, which is a change in the DNA. You can't reverse that. So now if you're being immunized, are we going to change our DNA?
Well, that's
Those are
really
some of the questions that are out there about.
Yeah, anytime you're playing with, and that's initially when GMOs first came out, genetically modified organisms, you have to wonder what will if we're eating those GMOs, is it altering our basic?
Well, I think
biological...
it is, and I think that this ties to COVID, and this is my own personal opinion. I've done some reading on this, but and this is not scientific at all, except in its premise. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have all these things out here, these pesticides and these GMOs that are attaching to the proteins very similar to how the COVID attaches. So is it seeking out its same thing? In other words, we're realizing that the people who are already compromised in some way or another, and we believe that you get compromised through diet and through the pollution. So, and the pollution in the diet. So is the COVID being attracted to itself in the human being?
Yeah, well,
because if you're really, really healthy, it doesn't seem like this affects you much. But the more compromised you are, and you're more compromised by diet and GMOs and pesticides and lifestyle and things like that. So this is my theory, that this is attaching itself and it's seeking out itself. My theory. Nobody else's.
Well, talk about that a little bit more.
Well,
what
so
do you mean
words,
seeking out itself?
Okay, so it goes out there and it seeks a stable.
What it is the COVID.
The COVID, yeah.
The COVID protein.
Yeah. The
okay,
COVID
is looking to bind with another
protein on the little spikes. Okay. But that's the same thing that the pesticides and all these GMOs do. They attach themselves and they work their way into the cell.
Right.
And so that's what I'm thinking, that the COVID is, oh, here's somebody that's compromised. It's got something that I can relate to. Boom, rather than the person that's not. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying if you're more compromised through these pesticides, these GMO foods, and the pollution that's out there, maybe this virus is seeking that same pollution where it came from out.
Or the virus shows up and finds an easy pathway.
Well, yeah, that's another way of saying it.
So, I'm not sure that the virus is actually looking around in any kind of a sense of it.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to these things after the break, talking about the difference between nature and us, and how at one time we were part of nature, and now it seems like we're really divided.
And what can we do to get back?
Well, that's the thing, for sure.
Yeah,
so we'll
and
be
do
right
we
back,
have
folks.
to get back?
Yeah. Meantime, remember, there's $25 off our Primal Edge right now, that first bottle when you subscribe, so pick that up right now. We'll be right back.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
So we're discussing a few different articles. One is Human and Nature, the Right Relationship. Another one I have here is called Humanity and Nature Are Not Separate. We must see them as one. And it says it's no coincidence that almost every single sector of industry is contributing to the planet's downfall. He says here, through a varied and complex story, the widespread separation of humans from nature in Western culture can be traced back through the Judeo-Christian values 2,000 years ago. Prior to this, belief systems were with multiple gods and earth spirits, such as paganism was dominating. So the authors here are talking about how we have slowly separated, starting about 2,000 years ago, and here he talks about in the 17th century, they were talking about that, only because we're rational beings and we're above all these animals and plants, that the separation is just.
Well, it's interesting because it says, according to this article, the current system operates on the assumption the Earth's environment is a subset of the human economy and the Earth belongs to humans. However, when you look at it, you see that human culture and economic goals are, in fact, a subset of the Earth's environment and resources. Humanity is one of millions of species that depend on them. And so how can people shift their thinking if the entire, certainly the industrial complex is based upon profit? And really doing whatever we need to do to maximize profit and to find new ways of making profit. And it's like putting the water in the tar sands, you're destroying some of the ecology. And the problem is, we tend to think of the Earth as just being infinite. It's just always there, and the food is there, and the air is there, and the water is there.
And we can tell by our attitude, too, because years ago, I remember boating, people would drink a beer and just toss the bottle in the ocean. It's not going to show up anywhere, and now we see bottles everywhere.
Acres and acres of trash in the oceans. Yep. We're trying to clean up the oceans.
That's right. And everything we see out in the wild now is like we go to these mines out in the Colorado, and these mines are just left.
Abandoned.
We have no saying that, when you leave something, let's return it back. No, we don't do that. We always just leave it. Now,
we block it up and say, danger, don't go in here.
A beaver does that with his dam, too, if it leaves it, but it's a lot easier to get that beaver dam back to its normal situation.
Yeah, it will deteriorate without being maintained.
Yeah, and our minds not so much.
Eventually they cave in or whatever. But,
no doubt about it.
But the point is that our resources are finite, that if we don't shepherd them and nurture them, we're going to run out.
Yeah.
And instead of fixing the running out part, we're making fake meat.
We're going the opposite way.
What's
You're right.
wrong with this picture? Somehow.
Yeah.
It's how can we shift? So there's some good questions raised in here. What is the economy for, actually? And it says, according to conventional wisdom, the economy is to create a world in which human well-being is nurtured and encouraged and preserved, and you do that by maintaining economic growth. But when you think about it, growth is not it's not measured in terms of benefits, because we still have so many people that are hungry, so many people that are homeless, so many people that are not benefiting from the continued
And now
industrial.
we see the stock market really doing well with no growth as far as what the labor sector is doing. We got very, very little labor intensity going on, yet the money is still being made. It's still being produced. There's a disconnect there. It's like Wall Street and Main Street, two different
and
things.
if we say, oh, it's really good for the economy to spend money on cleaning up pollution. Well, it'd be a lot better for the economy if we didn't pollute in the first place.
Sure.
It's kind of a fallacious logic. It's based on a premise that isn't accurate, and it isn't reality, and it's not.
Well, one thing that human beings have done is they have figured out different things. It's just that not everybody's doing it. We do have recycling, and we do have ways of making the pollution as part of the solution in a lot of different ways, too. So, we do have the capacity and we do have the intelligence to solve these problems. It's just that what's holding it back, and one of the questions was, and the economy could be holding it back, because we have to keep producing.
Yeah, and it builds on itself, and it becomes a vicious cycle.
Question number 2 is, how does the economy work? The prevailing way of thinking about how the economy works is to imagine that the economy is the box in which social interactions, ecosystems, and their sources are contained. The current economic order has the wrong relationship with how the real economy of the planet works.
And they're mistaking, they're saying wealth is money. But wealth is so much more than that. Yes, there is wealth with having money, but wealth is also health, and wealth is also being productive and helping and healing and.
A pristine world is definitely a good economy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's the wealth too. There's a thing here that says, how does the earth work? It's a great question. In a typical mainstream economics textbook, the economic is represented by a circle flow diagram. It depicts the production and consumptions of goods and services without regard to the components of the earth's or life's commonwealth needed to produce them.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
So
we
there's the
think of things
separation.
separately, intellectually versus nature. And you can't do that. You have to keep the whole picture.
So we're not building in the cost of the junk that we make that is produced from the good things we make. In other words, there's always a little pollution that comes along with manufacturing anything. And we haven't paid for the pollution part. We just paid for the manufacturing part. So the pollution part is just being put on the back burner that we have to pay later on.
And it comes due with a frightful toll.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's so.
And the frightful toll, just look at the oceans. We have people going out there with boats trying to pick up all this junk and inventing new ways of doing it. Yeah, we're smart. We have ways of doing it. But these need to be forethoughts, not afterthoughts.
Well, it says, it points out here that the Earth is a system closed to matter. So matter is not destroyed or created. That's the concept, the scientific concept. But it says here that the Earth is open to energy, and it ends up with it receives a continuous flow of energy from outside the system, and in the form of sunlight, radiates roughly the same amount of heat back into space. And the flow of heat from the sun is a key factor making life on Earth not only possible, but abundant. And then the energy from past sunlight is stored in coal, oil, and natural gas. And present and future sunlight is called flows. And then we have stocks of things that are already captured and ready to use on the Earth. But it's
Well, let's take a, for instance, remember the last time we went up to Canada, we saw these huge farmers' fields. Well, we got a break coming up, so I'll remind me what I'm talking about.
With
We'll be right
windmills.
back. Windmills, that's it. Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
Hey folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
TFNN has developed a daily programming lineup for traders by traders. We start every trading day live at 8:30 a.m. with Tommy O'Brien hosting the morning market kickoff as he starts the day off by breaking down everything you need to know about what's going on for the trading day ahead. At 9 a.m., Larry Pesavento takes your calls and questions live on the air for the opening bell as he hosts Trade What You See. At 10 a.m., Tom and Tommy O'Brien host the Bull Bear Trading Hour. At 11 a.m., it's Kevin Hinks and Alex Coffey from TD Ameritrade Network with Fast Market. Basil Chapman at noon with the Tiger Technicians Hour. Steve Rhodes hosts the Trader's Edge at 1 p.m. Dave White with the Power Trading Hour at 2 p.m. And Tom O'Brien closes out the day for the final hour of trading live from 3 till 4. Don't miss a second of our daily programming lineup. Tune in to Tiger TV every trading day live at TFNN.com. Educating investors.
So during the before the break, we were talking about those windmills when we went
Yeah,
up.
first time we saw the fields of windmills.
Yeah, fields, and there was, I mean, they're huge, and you know, my cousin actually has helped building them. The interesting thing is when I went back to Michigan, and Michigan is doing this too, the cost of disassembling and scrapping these things are huge.
Well, how much did it cost to put one up?
I think $3 million per
Sharon
one, something
said,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's millions of dollars to put them up. And the farmers get paid to have them on their land, so it's more profitable for them to get paid.
But if you look at the electricity, what they're paying out there, it's a lot more than we're paying down here, and a lot more in Michigan too. They're paying a real high amount for this. Well, and they haven't even figured in how to get rid of these things once they stop working too.
Well, I was thinking more in terms of just more fundamentally in terms of how much money you can make not farming.
Well, that too. Yeah.
You know, and so what does that do to the farming economy as well?
I really considered, you know, talking about the pollution itself, and we don't factor in getting rid of something. We factor in only building.
Let's build it. Right.
Build it, we sell it, and then you worry about it later on. But we
Well,
really
nobody ever thinks about what'll happen if we have to
Well,
take
look
it
at
down.
you ever been to the fields of planes that are out in the desert in California? I mean, you talk about a junkyard of 747s, and it goes for miles, and they're just sitting out there rotting. So
I never saw those.
yeah.
I
So
missed
there's a lot.
I missed that landmark.
I'll take you there, baby. Anyway, it's just a problem. Pollution is a huge problem, and like my dad said, if you had to get rid of all your pollution in your own property, you'd be thinking a lot differently. And I think that's the way we have to think.
What you'd bring in and what you, 'cause
Yeah, and
what
how
comes-
do you get it back to its original form?
On a much simpler level, it's a matter of, what. Are you buying something new to put in the closet? You got to take something out of the closet to put it in there. You can't, that's my motto is can't bring anything in if I'm not getting rid of something.
We're
so.
definitely in that mode now, that's for sure. Yeah. Anyway, we got another show next week. Now, the week between Christmas and New Year's, we're going to be gone, so we won't have a show that week. But we'll see you next week, folks. Thanks for sticking around.
Be well.
Bye-bye.